Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into some really compelling sources about family, identity, and, well, the power of truth, how it can sometimes really shake things up. Our main source is the DNA Diaries by Denny Roberts, MAG. It's described as a stunning collision of science, love, and culture. So what's the big question the author's tackling here?
Well, it's a question that I think resonates with so many of us. What really makes a family? Is it just the blood ties, the genetics, or is it the love we share? Or maybe it's tangled up in truths we'd rather not face.
Hmm.
And while it is fiction, the author grounds these stories in very real human emotions. These situations, or ones like them, have um, definitely touched lives all over the world.
Okay. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack how the book looks at this collision tradition, modern tech like DNA testing, and these deeply hidden personal secrets. How does the author set this scene?
It's quite evocative, actually. The author talks about truth in the heart of Africa,
Yeah.
saying it doesn't just knock politely. No, it sneaks in. And often it arrives with what's called the cold certainty of DNA tests.
Cold certainty. That's stark.
It is. And it directly challenges those traditions where perhaps silence was golden, where love or the appearance of love could cover up certain, transgressions.
That idea of truth sneaking in, like, let's make that concrete. Can you give us a specific example from the book that really illustrates this?
Absolutely. Take the story of Paul Magoya and Alan Gatera. They're married for 13 years. Paul believed their children were his. Then, wham, a DNA test reveals that Alan's tribe had actually chosen someone else, a childhood lover, to secretly father the children.
Secretly?
Why?
Wow.
To fulfill a specific custom. It was about prioritizing the lineage, making sure a particular family line continued over biological loyalty to Paul, the husband.
Wow. So you get this intense blood versus bond dilemma playing out, not just privately, but you mentioned in a courtroom.
Yes, right there in court.
Yeah.
It just throws into sharp relief how love, tradition, technology, they can just crash into each other sometimes, quite violently, emotionally speaking.
And does the book explore the aftermath? I mean, how do people cope with that kind of foundational shock?
It does. It's not just about the betrayal, though that's huge. It also touches on the resilience of the human heart, how people find strength or maybe forge new paths, even when their world just completely falls apart. The book suggests growth can come even from that broken ground.
There's another story too, right? David Tagoom. That one sounds different, but maybe equally about truth disrupting things.
Yes, David's story is harrowing. His wife, Gloria, didn't just want a divorce. She plotted to actually end his life.
Good heavens.
He survived, incredibly, survived this horrific night in his own home. Months later, he walks into the courtroom, physically scarred, yes, but he brings this undeniable truth with him. The book says the whole room stood when they saw him.
So his survival, his presence was the disruptive truth in that case.
Exactly. While it's not about DNA paternity like Paul's story, it's another angle on how raw, unavoidable truth can just shatter illusions and force a reckoning. It makes you, the listener, ask again, what defines family after something like that? And the book is clear. No easy answers are offered. It doesn't take sides. It just pulls you into these incredibly raw, really complex human dramas. You read about fathers who aren't fathers anymore, biologically speaking, and this phrase really stuck with me. Children born with codes instead of names.
Codes instead of names, that's chilling, like their identity is reduced to a lab result.
Kind of, yeah. Instead of the richness of family history or belonging.
And this isn't just fiction, is it? I remember seeing that viral BBC interview, the Ugandan activist.
Oh, yes. She spoke very frankly, didn't she? Said wives secretly having children with other men for their husbands, particularly where there were male fertility issues. She said is not new.
Right, and she pointed to the immense cultural pressure on women to have children. She said that interview, that openness, tore through families and even made courts rethink things.
It shows how these themes in the DNA Diaries echo real, ongoing societal shifts and tensions. Our deep dive really highlights that, yes, these truths can be incredibly painful. They open wounds. But the book also finds these small moments, reminders of why love still counts profoundly, even when the DNA tells a different story.
It's a really potent mix, isn't it? These lies that felt necessary bumping up against truths that came too late. When you think about it, all the kids born into these mysteries, the idea that maybe a father's hug means more than the surname, what really stays with you?
I think ultimately it's the sheer unstoppable force of truth once it's revealed. The book leaves you with this final, quite stark thought. Once the truth opens its mouth, it does not close it again.
Definitely a lot to think about from this deep dive.